My friends, welcome back to another episode of whatever this is. You shouldn't be shocked that I have no idea what to call this still. Today we're going to talk about something that's relevant at the moment. It's always relevant, but I think people are noticing more and more how important it is and how much stress actually impacts our lives and how important awareness, emotional regulation, and calmness and peace are at the moment. The coronavirus is going on right now, and here in southern Germany, we are in quarantine. As people who travel a lot, my house is on lockdown right now for another couple weeks to make sure that everybody's clear and for the greater good. However, there's a lot of panic spreading throughout the world, and if you're watching this after March 2020, like in 10 years or something, then you probably have no idea what that's like, but it's pretty scary because there's misinformation everywhere, and there's feelings and fear, and we're worried about people that we love. What I want to talk about today is meditation. Specifically mindfulness meditations and breathing, and what that can do for us in this moment in time. So what do you think about when you hear the term meditation? Is it like woo-woo for you? Is it like super Buddhist and like Zen? Oh, we're doing yoga. Like, what are the things that you attach to meditation? There's a lot of different kinds of meditation. We're going to just specifically focus on mindfulness meditation, which is a form of meditation that Dr. Jon Kabat-Zinn coined in his famous research and intervention program called mindfulness-based stress reduction. What the hell is mindfulness? Let's start there. Dr. Kabat-Zinn calls it paying attention in a particular way and on purpose in the present moment and non-judgmentally. One of the primary things that meditation does is it calms down the limbic system, the very deep insides of your brain, sending signals to the rest of your body. Essentially, it detaches constant commentary in your head from the sensations happening in your body. It also activates the parasympathetic nervous system, and it deactivates the sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight or flight system. So by activating the parasympathetic nervous system, we're essentially turning off that stress system and turning on the non-essential systems of the body, like the digestive system, the reproductive system, and various other systems that if we're in stress mode, if we're running from a tiger, we don't need blood flow and focus on those systems. So those get turned off in stress mode. But when we're meditating or when we're calm or when we're recovering, the parasympathetic system then turns on those systems again. So through meditation, we can learn the different mechanisms of attention, alertness, or vigilantly focusing on one task. Then we can learn about switching, which is switching between tasks, alternating. We can learn about focusing on one task, prioritizing that while we inhibit the other one. Those are all things we can learn literally just by meditating. And there's two ways to meditate: informal meditation and formal meditation. Jon Kabat-Zinn, he really emphasized this formal versus informal practice, that yes, it's important to sit on the mat, it's important to sit on the stool, it's important to kneel down. Wherever you want to meditate, it's important to practice that formally, but also informally, just going throughout your day, taking a deep breath. But meditation is hard. It is hard. End of story. Why is it so hard? What are some of the pain points? Why do we avoid it so much? It's really hard to sit with your own feelings. Like when you sit there and you're quiet for a minute, stuff just starts coming up. And that can be scary and uncomfortable, especially if you're not used to it. It can be scary to sit with those emotions, especially if you spent a lot of time avoiding them and not dealing with them. And when your emotions feel dangerous, you tend to view meditation as also being dangerous or perhaps negative. Like, oh, where might I go in my head if I open this up? If I open up this can of worms, what might it open? Yeah, but it's still there. Like those emotions, whether you meditate or not, are still there. You're just worried about them because you've never touched them. And meditation might be a way that they come out. It's uncomfortable to sit with your own emotions. It's also really hard to accept the inner chatter or commentary in your brain. I call it my brain music. I have an ongoing commentary as well, the peanut gallery. I also have tinnitus, so I hear my ear buzzing constantly while I'm meditating. And it can be really hard just to sit still and hear this commentary going on and being like, aren't I supposed to be like, No. Distraction is inevitable. Period. It's very difficult at first, and it's a skill, so you have to keep practicing it, but it's very hard at first. Like, you can't just sit down for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, for 20 minutes, and expect that you're going to be good at this, okay? It's very frustrating and very difficult at first, as was learning to ride a bike, as was learning to drive a car, as was doing anything else in life that is a skill. Again, it can just be scary to go inside your head. There's a lot of unconscious stuff in there. We're not really sure what we're going to find or if we're going to like it. So we might just say, meditation is bullshit. I'm not doing that. But there's so many benefits, so let's go over some of those. Examining the world as it is without the commentary, okay? Through meditation, we can learn to just accept things the way that they are without judgment, and without that commentary, and that saves a lot of time and makes you a lot more productive. It also improves your sensory abilities because you're less prone to distractions, you're less prone to having that running commentary, you're actually just focused on that one thing. For example, they found in research that people who meditate versus people who don't meditate, and people who meditate, they feel pain, but they have less running commentary about it in their heads, so their pain tolerance is actually higher because they're detached from, hey, let me tell myself a story about this, and they just feel the pain and they just accept it, and it is what it is. Another thing is, like I said, distraction is inevitable, especially at first, but really always. But when you're meditating, you have easy wins, because to win at meditating or to have a good, positive meditation experience, it's not to avoid distraction. You've already won because you've noticed that you were distracted. Because a lot of times in our minds, we're not even aware enough to know that we're being distracted from things and then redirect. So the very fact that when we're meditating, we notice that we're distracted and then redirect ourselves, that's already a win. Another one is that we learn how to accept and then mitigate self-dialogue. Okay, we're constantly talking to ourselves, or most of us are. There's some people that actually don't have a running commentary. Never met one of those. I'm certainly not friends with any of those people. But when we learn how to accept it and not just constantly fight against it throughout the day, that makes life a whole lot easier. Because as human beings, we talk to ourselves the most. It's really important to know what we're saying to ourselves, make sure that it's positive, and limit the negative self-talk. Meditation can also help us, as I said, the emotional part can be really hard for some people, but meditation can also help us name those emotions, feel them out, and understand where they're coming from, and understand that those things aren't dangerous, they just are what they are. The ability to feel the emotion, name it, feel all the sensory things about it, and then just accept it and let it go. Some of the other bonuses of meditation, especially mindfulness, include intense calmness when you're done. It's a very relaxing feeling once you get good at it. And being able to experience some wild things. Pretty much everybody I know who's a daily meditator like myself has had some pretty wild experiences, or at least has a story or two. And sometimes things just come to you out of the blue that you would never have thought of. It's like a gift from the outside, or maybe it's a gift from the inside. I'm not entirely sure. So how do you meditate? First of all, you want to find a comfortable position. At best, the environment should be quiet. Yes, distraction is inevitable, but we can still mitigate as much as possible. Secondly, focus on your breath. As you're sitting in your chair, wherever you are, where you feel it, how you feel it, where you feel it the most, using your diaphragm, filling up your lungs. Slow inhalations, hold briefly at the top, and slowly exhale. Your exhalation should be the slowest, and that will help slow down your heart rate and all the other things, again, activating the parasympathetic nervous system. Then focus on the sensations. What are you feeling? Just notice where your feet are, where your hands are, what you feel against your body. As you start to get distracted, because usually you start to get distracted within the first 15 seconds, if we're all just being honest here, to just allow your thoughts to pass. Again, this is paying attention to the present moment non-judgmentally. But just spectate whatever's going on in your head. Don't try and change anything. Don't judge yourself. Don't start your inner commentary. Just let it pass by. Remember that feelings aren't dangerous. So as things start to come up, if you feel like you need to express something, if you feel like you need to think about something, just let it pass. Feelings are the same as thoughts. Let them pass you by in the parade. And start slow. Start with 1 minute. Don't start with any 15-minute meditations. That's crazy and super ambitious. It will, however, make you super frustrated if you can't get it the first time, which is highly unlikely. A couple other recommendations would be to use guided meditations if it's hard for you to be in the quiet, or use quiet music. At the end of your meditation, every single time, do a quick self-feedback, like write down how your meditation went. Hey, I made it for this long and it was this hard and I got distracted this many times. And you'll gradually see yourself getting better at it as you practice. Remember, meditation is a skill, just like any other skill that you've learned in your whole entire life. That means you have to practice it. But it's a very, very valuable asset because it makes you more self-aware, it makes you more emotionally intelligent, and it makes you better able to control your attention and manage your stress. And in Corona days, those are some very useful skills to have. Until we get out of quarantine, which we're on day 5 right now, so until we get out, I'm expecting another 3 weeks. I'm going to be uploading every single day a 3 to 5 minute mindfulness meditation to my podcast. So if that's something that you're interested in and you want to catch these meditations, then Google, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google and wherever else you can stalk your exes and listen to podcasts. You can find my podcast, The Lion's Mane Podcast, and listen to Mane Meditations. All right, that's it. I hope that helps, and I hope you could take something away from this, and please, please, please practice meditation. I promise it will help you. Thanks.